Come on up, Darian.
I had the pleasure of reading the outstanding submissions for the college writing contest that we have each year. This year we have 4 award recipients, and the first we're recognizing this morning, Simon Cole. Let me tell you a little bit about Simon Cole. He is a third-year undergraduate student at Embry-Riddle Aeronautic University and is originally from Buchel County, Florida. Near Tallahassee. He runs track and field for his university and is a computer science is studying computer science while participating in research as well.
Research what?
I researched bioinformatics.
Okay, next.
So that's the next sentence, Ellen. In his intro. In the future, he hopes to pursue graduate school in the field of bioinformatics. So Simon has agreed to, due to our time constraints, to read an abstract of his paper that he submitted to us this semester, and then we have an award for him. So, Simon, do you have that info handy by chance?
I do not.
Okay, I have it right here.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Simon.
Much taller than the microphone.
Yeah, this is my abstract for my essay submission. It was part of Dr. Lear's humanities class. It was really fun, her teaching it to us. So, my essay title was Trauma and Tranquility, Rawlings and Hemingway's Tales of Transformation. It explores the contrasting depictions of nature in American naturalist literature through Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings' The Yearling and Ernest Hemingway's Big Two-Hearted River. Rawlings' novel follows the journey of Jody, a young boy in rural Florida, as he confronts the harsh realities of nature through personal growth and loss. Conversely, Hemingway's narrative centers on Nick Adams, a World War I veteran who finds solace and healing through simple acts of nature after returning traumatized from the war. Through these narratives, the paper examines how nature serves dual roles as a source of trauma and a path to healing. The Yearling portrays nature as a brutal force that precipitates Jody's painful transition from innocence to disillusionment, while Big Two-Hearted River presents it as a restorative environment that rejuvenates Nick, providing him with peace and contentment. By juxtaposing these works, the paper highlights the nuanced and often contradictory roles nature plays in shaping human experience.
Yes, terrific paper.
Tell them where they can find the paper. In the journal.
Yeah.
Half of us read it last night. Yes.
In next year's Journal of Florida Literature, Simon's paper, along with our 3 other recipients' papers, will be...
No, they're in this one.
In this one? I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Yeah, great. So, Simon, before you sit down, I wonder, when did you know, during the time you were taking Dr. Lear's course, that you wanted to do this comparison of Hemingway and Rawlings?
Yeah, it's actually a really funny story. I remember when I was trying to decide what to write my essay on, I was talking to my friends and I was like, I don't know why I always do this thing with essays where I always just make them way harder than they need to be to get an A. So I had this like weird idea for to kind of unite one of my favorite short stories with this book that I just read that Dr. Lear did a great job teaching us about. And so that kind of was how it came about, but I guess it was interesting too the way I learned about the short story. My dad, who was a huge Hemingway fan, who studied literature, he couldn't be here today, but he introduced me to that short story, so it's kind of very close to my heart. But I was really glad that I could kind of unite the two things. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for that background. So Simon, for your hard and thoughtful work that we're very proud of, we have a $500 check for you. And thank you. This year I had the pleasure of working with Dr. Anna Lilios and reading the submissions, the outstanding submissions for our student award winners for our annual Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings writing contest. And you can imagine there's a lot of invisible work that goes behind the composition of these papers, the intellectual sweat, the idea itself. And I want to take a moment and recognize too the professors who made these assignments possible. Dr. Ashley Lear, would you stand up? Yes. So, and Dr. Leslie Poole. Yes. So these professors, they created the assignments. They mentored the papers themselves, and made this event possible today. So I think we ought to really appreciate all the quiet work that goes into that as well.
Can they come up there too, be in the picture?
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Great. So our first recipient today is Samantha McConaghy. Yes. And a little background on Samantha. She hails from Mays Landing, New Jersey.
Okay.
She's that versatile. She's a senior at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, working toward her BS in Aviation Business Administration, with a concentration in supply chain management. On campus, she is a peer mentor, a resident advisor. That's an incredible job on top of any student responsibilities that one has. That's a 48/7 kind of position. And she's also president of the Business Eagle program. Samantha is also a local title holder for Miss New Jersey. A preliminary competition for Miss America. Yeah. So.
And Darian, she was able to put this essay down on her application. She's going through that this summer, and so this is on her resume for the summer competition.
Fantastic! Oh gosh, thank you. Oh my gosh. And here's a really one last bit of information that's a real special treat. Samantha is a strong advocate for STEAM, S-T-E-A, the arts, education. So we're grateful that you have made writing about Rawlings part of your many efforts this year. And if you would you come forward and read your abstract?
Thank you all for having me. I wasn't a strong writer as a child, so to have Dr. Lear email me about submitting and then receive an award as the first person to go to college in my family and working multiple jobs on campus to afford college has just really meant the world to me. So thank you so much for everything. In Surviving but Struggling, the disillusionment of survival through a child's eyes, the life and maturity of the main character, Jody Baxter, from Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings' The Yearling, is portrayed as he experiences disillusionment of what it takes to survive in rural Florida. The essay analyzes how Jody matures by taking on his family's responsibilities as his parents always ensured that growing crops, hunting, and the fear of starvation would be taken care of. It is from the hardships of reality that he is forced to face the terror of Slewfoot, Penny Baxter's near-death experience, and the acceptance of killing Flag for his family's survival, all of which helped Jody blossom from an immature young boy to a mature young adult. Thank you.
Samantha, before you leave, just curious, what was it, beyond the required assignment for the course? And Ashley, what was the name of your course?
This is just American literature.
American literature,
Yeah.
terrific.
American literature.
So beyond the assignment in the course, what prompted you to focus on this particular facet, and pull this paper together?
Survival and really Jody growing up as an individual. The part where Penny is on his deathbed was really hit home for me. I lost my father from cancer at 5 years old, and then my stepfather my freshman year of college due to a pulmonary embolism. So for me, as soon as that rattlesnake bites Penny in the leg, I was fearing for Jody, knowing exactly what that experience is like, and to listen to his survival story and how he matures. I saw himself in me. Plus, my best friend resembles Jody a lot, and he really seeing him wander off and then mature. I fell deeply in love with this book, which I didn't expect to do, and to pull the essay together was magnificent.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
So, Samantha, we have for you, I'm sorry, you're getting a workout today. We have for you a $500 scholarship to all good things in your future.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you. All right. So Samantha was one of our undergraduate recipients, and one of Ashley Lear's other students you may remember was able to be here yesterday. Simon Cole. Yes, and so we I want to make sure we acknowledge him too. He's off apparently starting an ultra marathon.
University of Pennsylvania to Princeton.
Yeah, walking from University of Pennsylvania to Princeton, or running. Yes. Maybe both. Probably. All right. So now we have our next two award recipients who are graduate students at Rawlings College under the mentorship of Dr. Leslie Poole. And our first recipient, would you come forward, is Hind Berji. Hind. I'm sorry, Hind. Yes, I only worked on that all morning. You're very kind. Hind is a little background on Hind. Hind is pursuing her Master's of Professional Studies in Publishing at George Washington University.
Wow, very good. Wow.
She's an advocate, an avid enthusiast of the arts, culture, media, and she brings her passion for these fields into her work as a freelance writer and editor. Today she'll be reading her abstract on her work this semester in Dr. Poole's class. Welcome, Hind.
Thank you so much. I first wanted to thank Dr. Andrew, Dr. Lilios, who I corresponded with briefly, and of course Florence Turcotte, who's MKR Society president, because your paper in the Florida Historical Quarterly, I believe it was of great help to me when I was writing my essay. And of course, Dr. Leslie Poole, whose class on the three Marjories, so Marjorie Harris Carr, Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings, and Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, was the reason why this paper came into existence. Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings and Marjorie Stoneman Douglas are pivotal in defining Florida's literary and environmental landscape. Their seminal works, Cross Creek and the Everglades River Grass, respectively, underscore the critical...
Microphone on? We can't hear you in the back.
I'll just speak higher. Can you hear me now?
Yes, speak better.
I think I need to speak louder. So Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings. My paper was about Cross Creek and the Everglades River of Grass, underscoring the critical role of literature in championing Florida's environmental advocacy. So Rawlings's depiction of Florida's scrublands illustrates the symbiotic relationship between humans and their environment, which fosters empathy and respect for the land and its inhabitants through vivid and intimate storytelling. Her work not only celebrates the Floridian landscape's beauty, but also advocates for its preservation, emphasizing the human beings' ethical responsibility towards their environment. In a more historically comprehensive yet complementary manner, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas uses her journalistic precision to transform the perceived notion of the Everglades from mere swamps to a vital, vibrant ecosystem. Her advocacy galvanized public support for conservation with eloquent prose, and that all sparked a broader conservation movement. I think that kind of sums it up. The rest of it is just kind of more on that, but basically my paper was about how literature can be used as a environmental advocacy tool and how those two writers come together to do that.
So Hind, same question for you. What did you read, or what moment in the course did you know you wanted to make this the focus of your paper?
While I grew up in Florida, I had this preconceived notion of, well, this is a lot of swampland, and so I had sort of a bit of a cynical attitude towards Florida's landscape. It's too humid, those kinds of common, complaints that we tend to have, the bugs. And so this course and this reading was so sincere, and it was so vivid, and the imagery and the writing really, really caught me off guard in a very good way. And so it was that matched with the advocacy perspective. I could have easily written about Marjorie Stoneman Douglas and Marjorie Harris Carr and taken it from a pretty staunch journalistic advocacy kind of perspective. I could have taken the route of talking about the politics that were involved, but as somebody who really believes in literature as a rhetorical tool for advocacy, I wanted to sort of merge all of these things together, and that was my paper.
Very good.
So, thank you. And we have for you the graduate level award is $1,000.
Whoa.
Yeah. All right. Our last recipient today is Moha Forero Buchel. He is a Peruvian writer. Come on up, Moha. He's a Peruvian writer residing in Orlando, Florida. He holds a Bachelor of Architecture and Project Management from the University of Lima in Peru, as well as a degree in a specialist in communicational design from the University of Buenos Aires in Argentina.
Oh.
And that's not all. He also holds a Master of Liberal Studies from Rawlings College.
Oh.
Please welcome Moha to read his abstract.
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to acknowledge that I wouldn't have found Cross Creek and Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings without the class of Dr. Poole. That has been probably my first presentation to Florida culture before Disney, so that has been an amazing tool to discovering a more earnest perspective on what it means to be a Floridian and residing here Obviously, I want to thank Hind as well because she was in my class and she made the conversations very interesting and insightful. And my partner that is down there, Victoria, that she likes my readings and supports me while I write. So I'm going to start with reading the introduction of my paper. It's called The Social Problems with Rawlings Cross Creek Transcendentalism. Marjorie Keenan Rawlings' semi-autobiographical, that's a large word, Cross Creek is a seminal work in the formation of an environmental imaginary in Central Florida, especially for its depictions of Cross Creek's biome. However, Rawlings' perspective is abstracted from society in a way that neglects the setbacks that afflict oppressed communities in Cross Creek and Florida at large. Cross Creek shares significant sociopolitical issues with Transcendentalism's paradigms, the literary movement that championed life in solitude and nature, building on the myth of the self-made man returning to Eden. While heavily celebrated for its perspective on nature in a time before mainstream conservationism, contemporary revisions of the genre became critical of the lack of social nuances, because of the arguably anti-social aloofness of its authors and their dismissal of the systems that allowed them to inhabit that fantasy in the first place. This paper will delve into the world of Cross Creek to understand its positive and negative common traits with Transcendentalism. Moreover, it will open the door to a conversation surrounding the racial issue of the American South as lived through Rawlings' accounts and Adela Parker's versions of her story. Thus, this paper proposes a transmedia interpretation of Rawlings' Cross Creek, understanding its diminished sociocultural vision as a product of its era, but reminding the readers of his or her responsibility to expand where Cross Creek falls short. This perspective allows the identification of the points where transcendentalist literature can be complemented by narratives that uplift historically marginalized voices in American literature.
So, Hind, same question for you. When did you know you wanted to pull Transcendentalism into your discussion of Rawlings' work?
So, coming from Latin America, our construction of the imaginary of what it means to live in the land and in nature is deeply intertwined with what indigenous communities before us did. And coming in here and starting to read about the Transcendentalism movement and Emerson, Thoreau, and then Rawlings' version of it, I felt that there was an inherent difference to it. There was this disconnection with what was already happening in there, and there was a treatment of the land as if it was a virgin environment and not an occupied environment. So I wanted to bring a new perspective into it. And I mean, my paper might seem cynical at first and might be a little bit more negative in a lot of aspects, but I deeply enjoyed reading Cross Creek. Obviously, if not, I wouldn't be here, but what I want to propose is that it should be accompanied by more information that can paint a larger picture.
Aren't these fantastic?
Yes.
Yes. Mohammed, thank you.
Thank you very
$1,000.
much.
Yes, we appreciate it. The abstracts and the intro are teasers for you today to go read the complete papers in this year's journal. All right. So we want to thank our recipients for their hard work, and I think we can see that the future of Rawlings scholarship is in very good hands.